All right, guys, here we go. It's time to plant potatoes. So, I like potatoes. You know, potatoes are one of my favorite foods, and you know, it was the first thing I thought about when I was like, hey, I'm gonna do a garden, and I was like, maybe I'll plant some potatoes and see how I can do. And if you recall, last year we grew in the raised bed at the beginning of last year, the first bed that we had. And the potatoes didn't do that great because the soil had stratified and it was damp. And so most of the potatoes I had, they rotted away. And so I had 3 different types of potatoes in there, which was I had a Nordic red, which did really well even with the moist soil. Then I had a Kennebec, which I come to find out is a very temperamental potato, and they don't do very well in the South. And then I had a golden potato, a Yukon Gold, and they did okay. We got some of those. So this year, what I have is I've got the Yukon Golds again, and that's these potatoes here. And then over here, we've got the German Butterball, which is the first year growing these. My neighbors set the Squirrel Patrol off. And then we got the Nordic Reds again, and we're gonna give them a try. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put these into buckets. We're gonna try doing these in buckets because the buckets seem to do pretty well. First of all, we got the bags. We're gonna put the Nordic Reds in the bags, and then the other ones we're going to put into buckets. And how we've done that is we've taken them and we've kind of cut them down to a smaller size. And some of them have eyes on them, or most of them have eyes on them. And that's because we put them out in the sun. You know, we got the, not in the straight sunlight. I put them on a table inside the house. And then the eyes turn into these little sprouts. So we'll plant them inside the container. And then we're gonna wait until the plants pop above the ground before we hit them with water. Now we've pre-watered I pre-watered the pots yesterday, so they have some moisture in there. They got a lot of nutrients in there, and we'll see what happens. But let's go get these things in the ground so we can get this grow season started. All right, guys, here we go. We have our potatoes laid out in the bags, and we're doing 2 potatoes per bag. And there's the Squirrel Patrol. What are you doing, Squirrel Patrol? Shouldn't y'all be like, this is squirrel time? Shouldn't you be doing squirrel stuff? All right, get on, Squirrel Patrol. Go on patrol. Hey, down, Rube. You monster. I'm doing a video. Come on. Yep, it's not. Okay, pet time. All right, we're petting. All right, we're petting. Okay, is everybody happy? All right, good, go. Go patrol, you vicious monsters. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I didn't top these off so that I could add more compost as the potatoes grow, though they're probably a little bit fuller than what I need. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to bury these about 4 inches down, about that far down, and we're going to bury them with most of the nodes facing up. And that should be about 4 inches. Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go about, and then we'll put the potato in there, and then we'll cover it up. And that's all we're going to do. And then we'll come over here. We'll do the same thing. You can see how nice, loose, and fluffy the soil is. It should drain very well. Make sure we get them at the uniform depth. And that hole needs to be a little bit wider. But that's what it is, guys. This is how easy it is to plant potatoes. And then as the plants break the surface, what we'll do is we'll then add a little bit more dirt. We won't have a lot of room to add more dirt. If you see that right there, that is alfalfa pellets. This is what it looks like when they get wet. I would not suggest getting this wet and then putting it in small baggies and then transporting it in your car. That would probably be bad. I would not do that because it looks like something else. But anyway, here we go. Booyah. Just digging a hole, putting the potatoes in. Yeah, and the soil's not too moist. That's about right. And then if the bag's not squared up, the good thing about these bags, you can just kind of square them up. And then we'll take this one. Yeah, I really wanted these in the ground like 2 weeks ago, but what happened was it rained a lot. And so everything out here was just totally wet. and that was not good. You don't want to plant your potatoes in the wet soil because they will for sure rot. And I'm like not kidding at all. And if you never smelled anything till you smelled a rotten potato, whew, it'll knock you out. And so there we go. This is how we do it. Now I got this one big old hunk of potato over here. I'm just gonna bury him in there by himself. And he'll do okay. He'll be a little lonely, but that'll be it. I tell you guys, this is a good hobby. I really enjoy getting out here, getting hands dirty, and my hat dirty and everything else. And I enjoy being outside with the pups. It's pretty relaxing. We'll put this guy a little bit deeper since he's by himself. There you go. Get on in there, fella. He'll be doing good. All right, that's it. So I'm going to plant the rest of these. We'll be back in just a minute. Look, it's my dog, the Squirrel Patrol. So this is Gunner. Gunner hides these things everywhere. Earlier, I was cleaning out one of the beds and I pulled out a stuffed duck that I hadn't seen in months because it was in one of my flower beds. But this happens every time I dig something. I come across one of his stuffed animals. And I think maybe the raccoons were getting a bad rap because I really believe that it was Gunner that's been doing this. Gun! Gunner! Come get your treat. There you go. Find a better hiding place, dude. Hey guys, in this bed, I've decided to go ahead and put some of the potatoes in the ground. And here you can see I've dug a trench. The trench is about, it's about, let me see, 4 inches. Yeah, 4 or 5 inches deep. And I've already planted 2 more rows. And so in each row I got 4 potatoes. And then we're just going to cover them up. And after, this should do reasonably well. This ground is really fertile. It drains really well. That's a root ball from what was planted here before. And it drains really well. Plus I have irrigation built in if I need to. So these will be, I believe these are the Yukon Golds. So we'll see how the Yukon Golds do this year. I have to go in and make signs for all these beds because if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, as soon as that sign blows away, I will absolutely forget what I planted in this bed. It's terrible. Anyway, but that's it. There we go. So Yukon Golds in the ground. And so what I'll do next is I won't be hilling these up. I'll just go ahead and put some hay over the top of them so we can keep everything consistent. This brick is here because the hose has still got memory and it bows up in the middle. So after a few days I'll come and I'll pull these bricks out and it won't interfere with the potato growing at all. All right, let's go get the rest of them. I think we're gonna do the rest of them in pots. All right, so planting these in the buckets. YouTube is a good resource for knowledge, and I know I probably watched every potato video, every tomato video out there, and I encourage you that if you're just getting into gardening, by all means, exploit that resource. They're so, a lot of people, you'll hear them try different stuff or whatever, but really, there's only so many ways to plant stuff, depending on what gardening zone that you're in, what hardness zone. If you don't know what that is, look up hardness zones. It has to deal when your last frost date is. Here in Zone 9A on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, our last frost date is the 1st of March. And that is the date at which you could expect, on average, your last freeze. Mississippi, man, it's not always like that. Sometimes, you know, we'll freeze. Sometimes we'll be all bundled up for Mardi Gras. Sometimes wearing sweats and wearing t-shirts for you know, Christmas, and shorts, you know, for Valentine's Day. There's no telling, but around February, it's a good time to plant. Anyway, it's kind of hard to mess these up. You know, if you get them too wet, they'll rot. If you don't have enough nutrients in the soil, you won't get a good crop, but you won't fail. I mean, you'll just get a small crop. That's what happened to me last year, is that I was expecting a bunch of potatoes and I got a few. But I think when I say a few, I want to say it was like 3 meals worth of potatoes. So that was pretty good. I was pretty satisfied with that. 3 or 4 meals. And they were my potatoes. You know, I grew them. And that made me happy. Plus I had the family out, if you remember the video. I had the family out and engaged. And my nieces and my great niece and nephew out helping me pick the potatoes, and we all had a really good time. So we had good memories, and we made a good YouTube video. So plus we got to eat a bunch of potatoes. But guys, I'm just gonna finish this off. Why don't you guys crack on off on YouTube and find something else to watch. I gotta clean up and get ready for work tomorrow. But as I always say, you know, get a good hobby that you like to do. Do something fun and productive. And, you know, gardening, that could be it for you, man. It was for me. I started out with 1 garden bed and a few tomato plants. And then look at all this craziness. And then the Squirrel Patrol came. And look at this. Ugh, right in the mouth. Ugh. So, all right. But as always, here on Cultivate with Carl, we say get a hobby. And right in the mouth. And, you know, get a dog too, because dogs are fun companions, except for these little knuckleheads. But, yeah, that's it for me, man. Potatoes are planted, the gardens are done, and it's time to get our growing on for this season. So, check back, probably about another week, we'll have another update. I'll be doing those beds in the back, and we'll be planting some more stuff. Probably actually more potatoes. So, there you go. It's Carl and Ruby on Cultivate with Carl. Looks like I'm about to get some kisses whether I want them or not. Signing off here. We'll see you later. What's the matter, Ruby? Oh, you're a good puppy. Oh, you're a good puppy. Are you a good puppy? Yes, you are. You're a good puppy. Oh, yeah. Oh, here comes Gunner. Oh. It's puppy love. It's puppy love. Who's gonna do puppy love? Who's getting excited? It's the Squirrel Patrol. Alright, I gotta plant these potatoes. Alright, puppy love, Jesus. Here comes Gunner. Okay, I gotta finish planting potatoes. Yeah, I gotta finish planting potatoes.